hand up. Same for Nicholas Dunlop, the cox of Leander. Both down now. And you'll hear that they are now started by the umpire. And the noise here, still got a few folks out there on the banks cheering these eights through the island. But what a start from Oxford Brookes there, Mark.
And you love that. It goes from like still and calm to that acceleration, that power, you know, the force that's being generated by those 8 athletes with the cock shouting them, going through the gears as they kind of move from the start and make their way beyond the island.
So we'll see just how much of a lead Oxford Brookes University have managed to get in this Remenham Challenge Cup, and about a quarter of a length, I'd say, and moving. But Oxford Brookes, you know, incredible that they've already made so many finals here, and they beat Rowing Canada yesterday in the quarter-finals. Now, I know not all of these athletes will be current students, but a lot of them will be, Mark. Just how impressive is that we've got, you know, student athletes going up against international programmes and coming out on top?
Yeah, I think that shows the depth of what we have in the UK, isn't it, as a whole? You know, you've said that you've got there are some students and some that aren't, but it's the quality of athletes we have across the board, and then bringing them together, you can see what they can accomplish against a national team that's come over to compete. But it's going to be interesting how this plays out. Now they're into their kind of rhythm, you know, whether it sticks or books keep moving out. So this is the next kind of minute and a half is really interesting to see how the Leander crew kind of stays in there, weathers the storm, and they get back on terms, or does Brookes really start to take control of the race?
Yeah, I think that they kind of stuck on there almost. They've tacked themselves onto Brookes. They've managed to hold them down this initial stretch, the opening few hundred metres, and we're getting near to that quarter-mile signal, which is the first opportunity for the signalling team to say to the race reporters, this is what the margin is. And as it goes away from us, there is some parallax here. So I think Leander and IC much closer than we think.
Well, and this is really important about that side-by-side racing, isn't it? It's about standing contact, sensing and feeling that crew beside you. You don't have to look out, but you know they're there. And if they stop moving, you know you've kind of latched onto them, and then you can start to claw them back. And that's why the dead part of the course, if you want to call it, from the barrier up to the enclosures, is the important part to stay focused on what you're doing, stand in contention, and really rowing your race and setting yourself up for maybe that big move as you kind of move up the course.
Well, we'll wait to see if Leander Club and Imperial College London have that big move, and there on screen we've got still Oxford Brookes University. Now, one of the interesting things about Oxford Brookes, Mother, I'm so pleased to have seen actually come to fruition here in 2024 is Hugo Gulliver, the coach at Brookes, the women's lead coach, said, I think it was one day after them winning the island in 2023, we're going to go for the Remenham next year. We're going to go for those open eights. Just you watch us. Which
I think is a way to think as a coach, isn't it? I don't want to win the same events. I want to move up to the next one. You know, keep moving up, keep taking the next scalp. And that's what it should be. It shouldn't be, I'm content with winning this. How do we kind of win the next one?
Well, look at what we've got here. I think we've got a race on our hands, Mark Hunter, because here come Leander and IC. Rhythm being set by Abigail Top, the Scot in the stroke seat, the under-23 silver medalist from the women's 8 back in 2022. And 4th at the under-23 Worlds last year as part of the women's Cox's 4, and she's set a rhythm that has cruised them back from almost the length deficit now to half a 3/4 of a length, coming up to half a length now.
And that's where they want to be. You know, I spoke to Rossi. You know, obviously Rossi, the head coach, my younger brother, the Leander, you know, the Leander system that has been producing so many athletes that are at the national team there, compete in the Olympics. So this is his next pedigree coming through that you'll see for 2028. I'm pretty sure of that. The way that he kind of develops athletes and the way they buy into the kind of ethos they have at Leander and the kind of women's, you know, area. It's phenomenal at the moment. But this is the kind of, you know, you always want to stay in contact. We talk about contact, dual racing, the importance of that. And this is the dead part of the course where you need to be switched on and really hang on to those if they're in front of you.
And Oxford Brookes will be desperately trying to break that bond between them and the Leander and IC crew, and I think with that last stroke they might just have done it. Grace Richards in the stroke seat, backed up by Ariana Ford in the Oxford Brookes boat, and it will be lots of calls from Beatrice Argyle sort of coercing them on to keep going, keep pushing, and create more of a buffer so that they can close the door on any sprint that Leander and IC have got to offer.
And that's the thing, you've seen so many races today where the crew in front, did they get too comfortable thinking they had it in the bag, and then people coming through? So making sure you've got the necessary margin that you can hang on and weather a storm is so important, especially at Henley.
Especially at Henley. Anything can happen. We've seen it all this week. Broken blades, crabs, swans, you name it. It's all been thrown at us on the course, and I'm just so pleased because for every commentary slot I've had so far, I've had grey skies and overcast pictures of Henley Town Centre, one of my favourite views in the world, and we've got nice blue skies here. I don't want to curse it, but Oxford Brookes, Leander and IC, what a picture perfect Henley Saturday evening that is.
So what you've just said to me, the committee, is that I've come in here and I brought the sunshine with me for you. Is that right?
You always do. You always do. You bring the energy, you bring the sunshine. And Oxford Brookes are bringing the big Brookes rhythm, because look at how much they've managed to now establish in terms of lead ahead of those early challengers from Leander Club and Imperial College London. But I'm so impressed. Emma Fearick in the bow seat, Claire Fearick in the bow seat. Sorry, slip of the tongue thinking about her sister, but an Irish international herself. And again, we've kind of got two crews littered with under-23 medalists, with development athletes. Amazing.
And I think that's the beauty of you're going to see these ladies progress in the next couple of years and move into those, obviously, hopefully, international seats as they start to progress through the system. And that's what I think sometimes Henley sets people up for that. You know, the competition, the rivalry between these two clubs, but these two clubs will come together at some point, I'm sure, and they'll be supporting one another.
Right, I'm sure that actually between the two boats, looking at the fact that in both crews, we've had people that have been to those under-23 World Championships and whatnot, they've rowed together at some point, or as part of that same British squad. So, like you say, they're going to have to put down their club colours come, you know, next summer, many summers to come, and come together as a unit. But today's club strip is Oxford Brookes University, and they're going to win this semi-final of the Remenham Challenge Cup by clear water. I think that is a huge statement here from the burgundy, navy and cream of Oxford Brookes University, that they mean business. They've polished off Rowing Canada. They're going to polish off the hopefuls from Leander Club and Imperial College, who just managed to get that overlap as they cross the line. But Brookes, I think, looking pretty tasty for that final in the Remenham Challenge Cup tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that was a really decisive move as they came through the barrier and out to Forley, really took the race by the scruff of the neck. Did what they had to do, and then, you know, weathered the storm as the Leander started to kind of try and claw their way back through the enclosures.